the plan, saying he wants more troops on the border and even thinks that we should be sending them into Mexico. Congressman Michael Burgess represents Texas's 26th district, and he wants more troops on the border as well. Good morning, Congressman.
Good morning. How are you, Allison?
I'm doing well. Listen, obviously there are limited resources. There's limited money. We have to make choices as to where to put National Guard troops. Would you rather see them on the U.S. side of the border, preventing people from coming in, or on the Mexico, helping to crack down on drug cartels?
Well, I think they need to be on this side of the border, particularly the Texas side of the U.S. border. That's where the difficulty is, and that's the job of the federal government, where we are required to defend the borders and deliver the mail. We're not doing either one that well right now. The troops need to be on the U.S. side of the border. The violence that is just the other side is in danger of spilling over to our side. Our citizens need to be protected. Our citizens demand to be protected. And quite frankly, that's what we heard a lot about in this last election.
Well, your governor, Rick Perry, says that the U.S. should consider deploying military forces into Mexico to help stem the drug-related violence there.
I have not heard that. I have not talked to the governor about that.
Do you agree with him?
My opinion is we need to do what we are required to do on the U.S. side of the border. Let's prevent the violence from coming into this country. There are special problems that are encountered when our troops are stationed in other countries. There's the whole command and control issue. There's the problems, the acknowledged problems with corruption on the Mexican side of the border. I don't know that we need to be getting into that. What we do need to do is protect our citizens on this side of the border.
Well, here's the problem. $135 million was budgeted for the troops to be along the border, and what the president is considering doing is taking, because we're running out of money, and that money will run out sometime apparently in February, is reallocating resources, take some away from Texas, take some away from New Mexico, put them in Arizona, which of course is considered ground zero for this fight.
Well, every state, every border state has their own particular needs. I just find it ironic that the President's Secretary of Homeland Security says if the governor of Texas needs more troops, he can activate the State Guard. And yet, when the governor of Arizona attempts to protect her side of the border, Eric Holder is there with a federal lawsuit saying, no, you can't do that with Arizona law. So the administration needs to sit down and come to a conclusion about how what their behavior is going to be vis-a-vis the problems that they have, the federal government has on the border, and how they're going to help their state partners execute those orders.
So how do you want to see these 1,100 National Guards troops divvied up? An equal amount in California, New Mexico, Arizona, Texas?
Well, here's the problem. When the Southwest Border Augmentation Plan was announced, Governor Perry asked President Obama for 1,000 troops along the Texas border. We have 1,200 miles of the 2,000-mile U.S.-Mexico border. So clearly Texas has some special needs. The problem was the administration said, well, there's 1,000 troops, and we're going to divide them along all of the border states, and that clearly was an inadequate response by the administration. Now, look, I understand the problems, the fiscal problems. These are all stemming from the fact that the Democratic Congress did not pass a single appropriations bill this past year. We are going to pass appropriations bills in January, and the funding will be there.
Congressman Michael Burgess, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
More Fox and Friends in 2 minutes.